Welcome to your weekly forecast. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. In this video, we will be going over the energies for October 16th to the 22nd, 2023. If you align with my energy and enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Now, before I get into the weekly energies, let's touch on this dynamic solar eclipse that just took place on the 14th. Actually, it's in effect at the time of me recording this weekly forecast. But what I really wanted to mention here is that this solar eclipse was at 21 degrees of Libra. So you want to check your birth chart to see if you have any personal planets or points around that degree mark. Also, because this solar eclipse is working with the South Node, this is about releasing and letting go. This solar eclipse is also going to be about just over 5 minutes long, meaning that the rule of thumb is that it's about 1 year for every minute. So the energies of this eclipse is going to play out over the next 5 years, 5.5 years. So we want to keep that in mind when we are working with these eclipse energies. Now, Libra is very much about balance and harmony, justice, equality. Now, with the South Node being in Libra, and I think we're seeing this really play out in the world where a lot is coming to the surface to be transformed, let go, released, and in our own individual lives. This is where there can be a lot showing up and coming to your awareness for you to be aware of those areas of life that are not in balance, where there's maybe relationships that are toxic or not in alignment. And there can be situations or experiences coming up for you to move through where you really have that full awareness of who those people are or what those situations are. Now, the South Node can also bring things back from the past. The South Node has an association with the past. So there could be something coming up for you around the past that you're having to transmute and transform with this eclipse energy. Now, we also have Venus, which is the dispositor of this solar eclipse, meaning the ruler of this solar eclipse and all of these Libra energies taking place right now. We have Venus in Virgo at 5 degrees. And so you also want to check your birth chart to see if you have any personal planets or points around that 5-degree mark of Virgo. This energy is going to be, Venus is going to be stirring up this area of life and also any additional energies around that 5 degrees, meaning if you have personal planets or points, Venus is stirring that up, bringing things to the surface for you to become aware of. And again, release and let go. Venus is the dispositor of the South Node right now. So there's a lot of relationship energy. I feel like in our own individual lives, it plays out collectively, I think, a lot differently. As we can see, there's a lot going on in the world right now. There's a lot of heavy energies. It does play out differently in our own lives where we are starting to become aware of relationships in our life that are no longer in alignment. Speaking of that, I am going to be posting on my podcast again. I've taken a little bit of a back seat with that because I don't like to push things, and I felt like there was something I needed to change about it. So I took a step back. Now I'm feeling this urge to get going again. I know what I want to talk about and I know what I want to focus on. And I'm going to be talking a lot about healing spiritually, healing from toxic relationships. I'm going to be talking about spiritual awakening. So I will let you guys know when I am going to post again. Well, I will be posting every Wednesday. I'm going to stick to the Wednesdays. Wednesdays is ruled by Mercury. So I like to keep it around Mercury because it has to do with communication and speaking. But I will let you guys know when that will be up and running again, which I'm sure you'll see if you're following my YouTube channel. And I will eventually have it available on Spotify and all of the podcast platforms. But for now, I'm just going to keep it to YouTube. So now let's get into the energies for the week ahead. As we come into the week on Monday, we have the moon in Scorpio coming off of that conjunction to Mars. So Sunday and early, it's going to feel most potent Sunday, but coming in to the week on Monday, there's a lot of that intensity around that Mars and Scorpio. Now, this can be beautiful energy for becoming really laser focused on your drive, your ambitions, right? Your goals. That is what Mars and Scorpio is really great for. Becoming extremely focused on your accomplishments and what you want to accomplish, your goals. So I love this energy. We do want to be mindful of our feelings, emotions, because emotions can definitely be heightened. But with the moon in Scorpio, this is a time where we're extremely receptive. We're very sensitive to the energies around us, and so we will be moving through that Monday and Tuesday with the moon in Scorpio. But this is a great time now that we have Mars in Scorpio to focus on your goals, get ambitious about them. So that makes it get ambitious about them. Get motivated. Mars represents our motivation, willpower, and drive, and being in its home sign of Scorpio. I mean, this is great where we can really become focused on what we want to accomplish. Mars in Scorpio is also a very passionate energy, and while we have the moon in Scorpio, this is where we can really be feeling passionate about certain connections in our life or about our endeavors, whatever it is we're creating right now, whatever it is that is driving us towards our ambitions and whatever it is that we are becoming motivated and wanting to accomplish at this time. Now on Monday, we are going to have the moon form an opposition to Jupiter. And I love this because I look at this as an opportunity to integrate energies. We're able to integrate the moon in Scorpio energy. So whatever we're becoming very ambitious about, whatever we're motivated towards accomplishing, our drive, right? It's this deep inner desire to go after something. And we're able to ground that in with this Jupiter and Taurus energy. Taurus is an earth sign, right? Taurus is also very determined. Now, where this can become a little complicated is that we have Jupiter retrograde, and yes, it is an opposition. Oppositions usually do require balance, but as long as we're with this Jupiter retrograde energy, this is very much of feeling defeated or getting in your own way, of feeling like, because the moon is in Scorpio, this could be very psychological. You don't want to be getting in your own way psychologically, thinking that it's not going to work out or nobody's going to like this or want this or whatever it is you're moving through. If it's a relationship, getting in your own way, we're thinking that maybe this person is not into me like I'm into them. That's where we really want to be conscious and aware that we are not getting in our own way psychologically, our mind, our thoughts, right? We also have Mercury moving closer to the sun. We're going to have the Mercury cazimi this week. And so at this point on Monday, Mercury is going to be combust, meaning that the sun is overpowering the energy of Mercury. Mercury ruling our mind, our communication, our thoughts. This can be a thing. So I just feel as long as we're aware that our thoughts as long as we're really being conscious with how we are navigating the energies this week, especially with the Mercury cazimi. Now we'll get into that because we have the Mercury cazimi on the 19th, I think, when it comes exact. But moving through the Mercury combust energy throughout the beginning of the week, we want to be mindful of our thoughts, that we're not getting in our own way, that we're not self-sabotaging. If we're struggling with clarity at the moment and we're not understanding a certain direction, this is where we just want to take a time out. We want to sit with the energies. Maybe it's not meant to happen at this exact moment. This is where we want to trust divine timing and trust and enjoy the process. We also have the moon approaching that opposition to Uranus as we reach late Monday evening and really, really early Tuesday morning. And that, again, is where there can be anxiety. Our mind can be racing at this time because we're also dealing with that Mercury combust energy. Uranus rules the electrical systems in our body. Now, this can be really beautiful energy for awakening, for manifesting, for meditation. opposition. So again, when we have oppositions, it's not necessarily negative or positive. This is where we want to create balance and we want to integrate some energies together. And as long as we're moving through this energy consciously, we're able to transmute, we're able to navigate certain energies with that awareness, and then able to navigate the energies consciously and effectively. Now, early Tuesday, we will have the moon form a trine to Neptune right before the moon enters Sagittarius. So the moon trine Neptune is really beautiful energy for creativity, imagination, romance, and spirituality, tapping into the energies, the frequencies around you, raising your frequency and vibration. And like I said too, even in the creativity, this is a time where we can be focusing more on our creative endeavors. This is a great time for journaling because you want to pay attention to what you're feeling in this moment and the intuitive downloads that you're receiving while we have the moon forming a trine to Neptune. And then we're going to have the moon enter Sagittarius. Now, on Tuesday, we don't have a lot of major aspects. We have a whole ton of moon transits. But what we do have is the sun forming a conjunction to the south node. Now, this is huge because we've just had the solar eclipse. And so on Tuesday, we can have something. I look at this as the sun shining a light on what needs to be released and let go of. So whatever you're kind of moving through with this eclipse energy or whatever the solar eclipse activated for you, the sun is now coming in, shining a light on something. And I want you to keep in mind that sometimes we can look at certain experiences or situations as if they're toxic or as if they're happening to us. I don't want to say even toxic, but as if they're happening to us. And sometimes these things can be happening for us so that we can start to move into a new direction and a new path that is more in alignment with who we are on a soul level and the direction that we're meant to experience. So we want to trust divine timing. We want to trust we want to trust the process, but we also want to trust what is showing up for us. This is a time too where we can be shown what we're hanging on to too tightly, where there's a need to loosen our grip on something. And that's something I even just felt intuitively. So I'm going to trust someone to hear that. But because it's the south node, this is highlighting something that you will be moving through and something that needs to be released and let go. Now, this can also be the sun coming in, bringing beautiful supportive energy for you. And I almost feel it too as it's comfort. So if you're moving through something right now and you know you have to release and let something or someone go, or this is something that you've already done, it's like the sun is coming in, bringing this optimistic energy and comfort so that you know you've made the right choice, you've made the right decision, and you're on the right path. So that's really beautiful. Now on Wednesday, we are going to have Mercury form a conjunction to the South Node. Mercury is our mind, the messages, information, communication. So this is where we can be receiving really powerful intuitive downloads and messages to help guide us into this new direction. This is where we can receive information or a message that helps you navigate these energies. This is a day you want to really be paying attention to your thoughts, practice mindfulness. What I find really interesting about this, and I talked about this in one of my recent videos that I posted on YouTube, is that the South Node, the nodes actually stay at that 24-degree point for some time, which is not, they don't always do that. I mean, it's not uncommon, but I find it interesting that the nodes stay at that 24 degrees and we have the sun form a conjunction there. We have Mercury form a conjunction to the South Node. And then in about a month, we're going to have Venus form a conjunction to that same degree point at the South Node. So whatever you're moving through right now, and it has to do with releasing and letting something go, there's all of these energies coming in to help support or to help guide you through this release and this letting go process, which I find really interesting. We also have the Mercury Cazimi this week, pretty much right on top of that South Node. So there's something really beautiful showing up this week to help support you in this releasing and letting go process. Now, I do just want to mention that we still have Neptune forming an in conjunction to the South Node. So as we have these energies come in, it's almost like too, I feel like, because in conjunctions can sometimes be something that you're not aware of yet, something that's showing up that you're not aware of. And actually, in conjunctions can be quite psychological. But I really feel like this in conjunction to Neptune is where there's something not seen yet within the spiritual realm, within your intuition, or it can be where the physical and the spiritual is not in alignment, and there's something that needs to be released in the physical to dive more deep into the spiritual or the energetic. So that I'm also feeling that intuitively. So trust what's in alignment, take what is in alignment with you. This can resonate with some and not others. So just trust the information that kind of aligns with you. But I do have to say it just because I trust that someone needs to hear it. Now, on Thursday is when we have that Mercury Cazimi. And what I find really interesting about this is that the Mercury Cazimi comes exact at about 25 degrees of Libra. So only 1 degree away from that South Node. But at the same time, we have the moon at around 23 degrees of Sagittarius. We have Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn. We also have this Mercury Cazimi forming an in conjunction to Neptune at 25 degrees of Pisces. And then we have the moon forming an in conjunction to Uranus. So there is a lot here when it has to do with a new direction, spirituality, intuition, and I feel like there's going to be a really, I feel collectively this is going to show up a little bit differently than individually. I feel like this is the day when we're going to hear something very powerful, whether it's on the news, social media. But I really do think that the 19th stands out for a really powerful message. And now individually, this is where we want to be trusting the process, trusting what we're feeling, trusting our intuition, and asking ourselves, is the direction that I'm moving in right now, is it in alignment? Because there can be a lot coming in at this time showing you what is not in alignment. You want to be checking your thoughts and making sure that you're not having any self-deprecating thoughts or getting in your own way with a certain decision or certain direction. Now, Mercury and the Sun move together for a couple of days, which I find quite interesting. And actually on Friday, Mercury and the Sun form an exact square to Pluto. This is where, and again, this is one of the reasons why I say there's such an intense energy here at the end of the week, with information coming out about a certain direction, a very powerful message, which is going to come in, I think Thursday, Friday, it will be extremely intense. And this is where there can be something showing up for you personally, where you're really having to look beneath the surface to get answers, or look beneath the surface. And actually, as I'm recording this right now, I feel like too, there's going to be a lot revealed. There's a lot coming to the surface. There's secrets revealed. And this is personally and collectively. I think there's going to be a lot that was hidden before, right? It's like I see it rising to the surface. There's a lot being exposed that was hidden. Now, I think this is very powerful. I think that this is going to be more towards collectively, but in our own individual lives. I feel like this is where we have to ask ourselves, are we being true to who we are? Are we following the path that is truly in alignment with us? Or are we pushing things beneath the surface so that we don't have to address them? So we don't have to do the hard work and transmute and transform. So it's quite a dynamic energy as we reach the end of the week. The Mercury Cazimi, I think, is going to shine a light on a lot that is hidden individually and collectively, and where we really have to ask ourselves, is the direction we're moving in alignment with who we truly are on a soul level? And if not, there's a need to release and there's a need to let go. And and even too, there can be a lot of fears showing up around that because there's a lot that's unknown. There's a lot even too, I feel like, from the past coming up that we need to heal and we need to release and let go in order to move forward. And in the end of the week, and these transits can really kind of activate that. And then even too collectively, where there is a lot that is shown that was hidden, that can be quite powerful. Now, also too, on Friday, we will have the moon in Capricorn at this point. So there very much is this energy of needing stability. Now, keep in mind, when we're talking about transits, we do always want to know what the moon is doing, because the moon rules our emotions, our intuition, and also I find our daily reactions to things. And the moon being in Capricorn, which Capricorn can rule government, corporations, authority. This is where we can see too that kind of magnified. Now on Saturday, we will have the moon in Capricorn form a trine to Uranus and eventually form a conjunction to Pluto. And so this is very powerful, very intense. The moon trine Uranus can be, Uranus has this very unexpected, chaotic, disruptive energy. And now individually, this is where we can be feeling our intuitions and energies can be extremely heightened now with that conjunction of Pluto and trine to Uranus. And this is something we've been moving through for a while now at this time of the month, where our intuition is extremely heightened and our energies, frequencies, and vibrations are extremely heightened and sensitive at this time. Pluto is a very psychic energy, and Uranus is known as the Great Awakener. And especially with that Uranus retrograde, which these energies become a lot more internalized, we are able to expand our intuition and really do a lot of energy healing too, and transmute a lot of lower vibrational energies that we are holding on to. And so that's how we can work with this energy individually. Now, collectively is where they become a little bit more difficult, because we're working with collective energies, which is not just our own, but it's the collective consciousness. And so I actually, speaking of this, I think that I may be starting a collective meditation to help raise some of these energies, frequencies, and vibrations, because I think we need it more than ever on the planet right now. So please let me know in the comments below if you would be willing to join me for a collective meditation to help raise the frequencies and vibrations of the collective consciousness and these energies here on the planet. I will host this meditation either on YouTube or TikTok, but let me know in the comments below if you would be interested in something like this. Now on Sunday, we have beautiful energy coming in because we have Venus forming a trine to Jupiter retrograde in Taurus. So we have both benefic planets forming a trine. I really look at this as a beautiful support coming in for this new direction. Now remember that this has to do with the releasing and letting go, because Venus is the ruler of the South Node. So I feel like there's energies, there's support coming in where there's this aid in releasing fear around the letting go process. So if there's something you've been questioning or scared to release and let something go, if you've been moving through fear around the past, or because it really has to do with this South Node energy. So, and it's like I'm wanting to say all this stuff at once because it's just coming in, but I know we're all moving through this in our own way. And so if this South Node energy that you're moving through has to do with something showing up for you around the past or relationships, this Venus and Jupiter trine is bringing beautiful support in for you to release that fear around letting go, to release that fear around whatever you're moving through that's really showing up for you around the past. Venus is the ruler of this south node. So almost to whatever was activated with that solar eclipse, whatever energies you're moving through when it has to do with this releasing and letting go within relationships, or whatever you're releasing that is not creating balance in your life, or whatever you're having to release to create balance in your life. If there's fear around that, this Venus Jupiter energy can be bringing in more optimism, more support, more clarity and guidance to help you navigate this energy where you feel more, I even feel too comfortable, but I feel like it's just more of this settled energy where you feel like you're not as scared to release and let something go. And that's very much how we can utilize this energy. Now, a Venus Jupiter trine is great for electional astrology if you're wanting to launch something this month or get something kind of off the ground. You do want to manipulate the energy a little bit so that you have the ascendant on a certain degree and in a certain sign. Now, comment below. This is something I've started to implement in my business and do for others. I work with this all the time, but I'm actually creating a platform right now where it will be a subscription-based platform. You will have access to electional charts every single month. You will have access to different tutorials. You will have early access to my horoscopes and forecasts that I post on YouTube. This is something I have not launched yet, but I am creating it, and I will let you know as soon as I have this available. And of course, I'm waiting for the perfect electional astrology to launch this, but I cannot wait to provide this to all of you and really build our own cosmic community on this platform. So I wanted to kind of mention that because I was talking about electional astrology, but I will be posting electional charts on that platform. So if there's anything you need to get going throughout the month, there will be multiple charts for you to utilize for anything you're trying to get off the ground. And this Venus trine to Jupiter is a perfect energy to utilize, especially in a month where there's not a lot of great energy. We're in eclipse season, which is not a great time to implement a lot during eclipse season because there can be a lot of twists and turns and changes. But when you're having to implement something, you want to look for these little golden nuggets within the intensity, which is a Venus trine to Jupiter, which is something we don't have all the time. So yes, on Sunday, we have this beautiful Venus trine to Jupiter that we definitely want to utilize. And we also have Mercury entering Scorpio. So we have a lot of this Libra energy now shifting into Scorpio, which is very intense. And remember that Scorpio reveals secrets, reveals things that are hidden. There's a lot of getting to the bottom of things with Scorpio energy. Now we have Mars and Mercury. So this is weird too, where I said this Mercury Cazimi square to Pluto really pushes us into this revealing something on the global stage. Like this is collectively where we really start to see things kind of get activated and a lot of information coming out. And I think that through the entire Mercury Scorpio transit, with Mercury moving through Scorpio, there's going to be a lot revealed. There's going to be a lot of information coming out, a lot of secrets revealed, a lot of things that were hidden coming to light. So we definitely want to watch for that. Now, in our own individual lives, this can be a beautiful energy for research. I will be doing a lot of research. I do a lot of research for my projects that I do for work, for my tutorials and all of that. This is great for doing investigative work, research with Mercury and Scorpio. This is a time where we may be wanting to watch more crime documentaries. That's such a big thing with Mercury and also Venus and Scorpio. It's a big thing with Venus and Scorpio too, loving those crime documentaries. But Mercury and Scorpio can be a really beautiful energy for motivation, willpower, drive, getting things done, becoming laser focused on a specific endeavor or project. So that can be really great. Also, once we have Mercury enter Scorpio, Mercury forms a trine to Saturn. So there's very much this deep-seated power and need to go after, not even really go after what you want, but like the commitments, responsibilities, or whatever it is you're trying to get going and implement. This is beautiful supportive energy for that. There's this inner desire because it's Scorpio. It's like whatever you're working with right now, whatever projects or whatever you have kind of going whatever direction you're moving in. And this can even have to do with relationships too, I'm feeling, where this Mercury and Scorpio trying to Saturn, actually intuitively, I just felt like this is really this like deep-seated desire to figure out the truth with something. So I'm sure that's going to resonate with some people, where you were doing a lot of investigative work. There's a lot of wanting to figure something out at this, but this is also too where we can be wanting to go like start our whatever. So for example, like I'm having a hard time putting words to this, but whatever it is you're trying to launch at the moment, or whatever you're working with, like let's say you're creating a course or a platform, a business, this is where there's this inner desire to really get this figured out. And I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I have issues with trying to convey my thoughts or even the intuitive downloads that I'm receiving. And this all shows up in my personal birth chart. I don't have the greatest Mercury placement, and I've had to overcome a lot of mercurial issues to even do what I do professionally. And I think that me doing what I do professionally kind of activates the challenging energy and counteracts it, which actually, speaking of, I will be creating a huge tutorial on how to overcome difficult astrology within your birth chart. So watch for that. I will let you know. I know it's going to be a little while till that's off the ground because I have so many other kind of projects I'm working on, but that is something that is that's on my to-do list, is to create a great tutorial for you guys to understand and navigate difficult energy within your birth chart. So I just wanted to put that out there. But all in all, we're in another intense energy for October. We're in eclipse season. But there's always, when we have the awareness of these difficult energies, we can navigate them with more awareness and ease, and we're able to navigate them more effectively and consciously. So thank you so much for joining me for another amazing week with these astrological energies and intuitive messages. So again, if you align with my energy and enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. I hope to have my podcast out very soon, and comment below anything and if there's specific topics you would like me to discuss, because I'll be talking about all different topics on that podcast, not just astrology, but I'll be diving into a lot of spiritual concepts and spiritual topics. And I also want to talk about healing, becoming the best version of yourself. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you all in the next one. Stay safe.